G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Wild Reaches. Now this one's a bit different. I'm in Civilization and I'm doing a rig review, I suppose you'll call it. Everyone's been asking for a long time about the new canopy and all the gear on the back and the changes that have been made. And it's been about 2 seasons since I've done a rundown on the vehicle. So we're gonna get straight into it. So this here is a canopy built on the Sunshine Coast, tray and canopy by Mission Built, local mob where I live. So I've done the fit out on the inside, all the drawers, so it's all done with marine ply and marine carpet. Yes, it's quite heavy. Mission Built are going to concentrate on doing modular systems, so you can pick and choose what drawers you want, you know, what holders you want, like I've got a chainsaw holder up here, fridge slides, all that kind of stuff. That's all coming. But for now, they're just building kick-ass trays and the canopies, and it's all really good construction. As you can see inside, there's a frame front and back with 40 mil aluminium box section, really sturdy. I'm really impressed with it. So the drawer system, I've done them different sizes. This one here is normally camera gear, so it's quite narrow but very deep. All the drawer runners and everything came from Bunnings. Everything was I wanted to build it in a way that you guys can build. Maybe I should do an episode on all the costings. I might get back to that, but I built this in a way that it's not going to cost a fortune, so you guys could go out and do the exact same thing. This drawer in the middle is normally tools, go-to tools, like I've got a bag in there with all my hand tools and yeah, everyday items, a bit more electrical there. And this drawer is camp oven, more tools, you know, the fire mitt, things like that. Now I've built these tables on both sides. These tables I actually had made up, and I've screwed the drawer runners and everything on there. They're actually welded plastic, which is the first time I've done that. It's like I think it's called C-Deck. It's a C-Deck product. So it's food grade plastic. So you don't have to worry about, you know, chopping up fish and that kind of thing on there. And you can just wipe it off so much easier than everything I've done in the past. All right, while we're on this side's not that exciting. We've got the Saber Gear that I carry everywhere. I've got tie down points in here and I've set it up for these front runner boxes. So they can just slide out, 2 of them, and you just run a strap over the top. Now I've left it quite open, as you can see through here, for surfboards and fishing rods and long items, as opposed to having a divider down the middle. All the money, all the business is on the other side, obviously, so we'll get to that later. This side's really a workstation. So as you saw, I had the table. I've got a second inverter here and 4 USB points for charging all my camera gear and the laptop. So that's everything happens over here, charging all my electrics. Up the top there is a chainsaw shelf and all the lights. They're just hardcore lighting. And they're actually really good, but if you guys know of another company that I can use, I've tried Thunder, they're not too bad. Hardcore are really the only ones that I could find that would that had the diffuser on it and that would do what I need to do. So seems to be a pretty good product. Same thing either side, the toolboxes behind the wheels. These didn't get any dust in them. They didn't get any water in them on that last trip to the Cape, and it was extremely wet up there. It was April. And you know, we had big rains up there through till about mid-June, July this year. So plenty of water, and these were dust-free and water-free. Lockable, but not central. They don't go with your central locking, whereas the doors will lock with your central locking. I don't have my key on me, but that's a must, because that's so handy. You go to the beach, pull your board out, walk off, lock your doors, and everything's locked. Same in car parks and shopping centres and Cairns and things like that. All right, so we'll go around to the front of the vehicle. Walking around, Safari RMAX snorkel. Now I've always had that, so you would have seen that in the last rig review. If you haven't seen that episode, jump back maybe 2 or 3 seasons, because that was a while ago now. But here at the front, so we'll get to all the suspension and tyres after, but right now, again, this stuff hasn't changed too much. So we've got an ARB Deluxe bull bar, the steady spotlights, which I think are the Pro 7s or something like that. Little steady light bars on either side. Now the reason I've done those is these lights don't shoot, because of the bull bar here, they don't shoot perfectly out to capture all your kangaroos and wallabies coming in in Cape York at night, and they're prolific up there. So I've put these little light bars on which shoot further out sideways and give me that extra bit of light. Okay, I've just installed a Sherpa Winch. Now you all remember season 5 crossing the Mitchell River near Kawanyama, when I and Dane, but particularly me, I got bogged for about 2.5 hours with the trailer on the back. Turns out the trailer brakes were locked on and I didn't realise, but the winch, which was a TJM, nothing wrong with TJM, but I had a TJM winch, 9,500 pound, and that was like my last resort. You know, we tried max tracks, we tried all that, wouldn't work. So I got the winch out, did a double pull using a pulley block, and it still wouldn't work. I still couldn't get out. I actually burnt my clutch out. So when I got back, I thought I've got to get the biggest and best winch I can get. And I did a lot of research, and the Sherpa just seemed to be the best model I could get. I got the 17,000 pound, 17 ton, I think it's called the Steed, the Sherpa Steed. This bull bar may not be rated for a 17,000 pound winch, but I'm just going to take it easy on the winch. The winch is going to have to work as hard as it would if it was like a 12,000 pound winch. Take it easy, and I've trusted the opinion of someone who used to test these all sorts of bull bars, and the ARB Deluxe apparently stands up to well over what it's actually rated to. So I'm going to trust that and stick with this winch. You know, I always use a pulley block where I can to halve the load. I recommend you guys do that too. Saber, as you can see here, I use a lot of Saber Gear. I've run a synthetic rope on the winch from Saber, and I've got a big bag over there full of Saber Gear because they're leading the market with all the recovery gear. So like soft shackles and that kind of stuff. So where was I going with Saber? Using their lightweight pulley system to get yourself out of trouble. So that's the winch. Moving around the vehicle, you've all seen the GME UHF that I've got installed in the vehicle. We'll start up top and then we'll come down to the tyres. You'll see that I've switched to Front Runner. The reason for that is I really like Front Runner as a brand. They've got such a good range of products. As you can see, it's a Front Runner rack, but I've also got the Front Runner light bar. Now this light bar makes all of these lights really unnecessary. This light bar pumps out approximately 19,200 lumens. It's just massive, absolutely massive, and it shoots sideways, and it's got a spot in the middle that goes way up the road. So really, I don't really need that stuff anymore. I'll probably leave it on there because why not? But I'm really impressed with this light bar. The other thing about this light bar is it has this like a bug protector, but it also shields all the light that's going to come down and reflect off your bonnet and come back into your eyes as you're driving. So, and you can adjust that to wherever you want, whatever suits for your driving. So that's really handy. So Front Runner, they've just got such a massive range. There's something like 60 products to mount onto their roof racks, you know, from jerry can holders to water can holders to max track holders, all that stuff. So everything you need, you can get through Front Runner. And I wanted to have a brand that, exactly that I can just use one brand for such a big variety of things. And Front Runners happen to be it. So I've got the Front Runner rack on top and the Front Runner rack on the back. It's really lightweight construction. It's a mix of lightweight steel and aluminium, and there's no plastic in it, and it all bolts together. So, you know, if you were to damage your rack, one of your other brands, I'm not going to name any brands, but you know, I've had big brands in the past. If you were to damage your rack, you have to replace the whole thing. Whereas if you were to rip one of these rails off in the bush, you literally just undo the corners and you can take the rails off and order yourself a new rail. So I'm really impressed with these racks. Everything you see on the vehicle right now has done a big trip to Cape York, so it has been tested and I am happy with it. And if I'm not happy with it, I'm going to tell you guys. Another thing right here, these are not Clearview, they're a copy. I couldn't get myself a set of Clearviews. I tried for like literally 2 years. Every now and then I'd put a lot of time into trying to get a set and I couldn't, and I'd forget for a few months, try again, still couldn't get them. These popped up on Marketplace of all places. They were brand new. They were from a company, something like Auto Trader or something like that, about $600. And again, they've done a trip to Cape York. They slide in and out. They're literally identical to a Clearview. The only thing I don't like about them, and I've heard this happens with Clearview too, is the profile isn't perfect with the profile of the doors. But apart from that, they don't rattle open. They're solid. I'm really impressed. for a copy, I'm really impressed. Underneath the vehicle, to me, this is one of the most critical things you need on your four-wheel drive, your suspension and your tyres. It's what is between you and the bitumen, or you and the track. So this is where you want to spend your money, right? So I've run, these are 315/75 R16, so 16-inch rims. They're nearly a 35-inch tyre. They're a Yokohama Geolander, the G003s. I had these up the Cape on the last trip. I gave them hell, and I'm really, really impressed. Now I've had Mickey Thompson MTZs, Mickey Thompson ATZs, BF Goodrich, what did I have there? The KO3s. I've had all sorts of tyres, and I'm really impressed with these. So if you're looking for a set of tyres, I would recommend them. And the rims that I'm running are the ROH Hammers. They're a 16-inch rim, and they are rated to, I think they're a 16x8, and they're rated to 1,500 kilos per corner. Right, so this vehicle has a Gvm upgrade, which I highly recommend all of you do. I think this is the smallest upgrade you can do, which is 3950, so 3.95 tonne. And if you're going to do a canopy, big tyres, have water, extra fuel, that kind of thing, you have to do it, or you're going to be way over your limit. Your limit is approximately 3.3 tonne without the Gvm upgrade. So these tyres can actually handle your Gvm upgrade. Some tyres can't, so be aware of that. The suspension is a 2-inch lift by EFS. It's their top of the range one. Like I said, for the Gvm upgrade, it is their biggest shocks. In the back, I'm running airbags. I'll have to put a link in the description what airbags they are. I think they're Dominators. And I run them when I'm traveling at about 70 PSI, which is pretty sure it's about the max PSI you want to run. So that's just to level it out, and when I'm towing the big trailer, it stops that body sway, and it's just much better. So airbags in the back. So I've just pulled up at Top End Off-Road up here in Cairns. It's just like the gateway to Cape York to me, and the reason I stop here, well, I'll start with, for the last few years, I've had so many people asking me, what are the main things you need to do to your vehicle to do a trip up into Cape York, to go remote? Now, to me, it's tyres and suspension, and then just general maintenance of your vehicle, making sure your vehicle's in ship-shop, tip-top shape. And that's why I'm here today at Top End Off-Road, because these guys know my car. They're going to service it for me before I head north and hit those corrugations. And that way, if anything happens to the vehicle while I'm in the Cape, I can call them on the sat phone. They know my vehicle, they can diagnose the issue, and then send whatever parts I need, freight them to like the closest cattle station or one of the roadhouses or something like that, where I can make my way to, hopefully get the parts and then fix the vehicle and get home safely to my family. So yeah, tyres, suspension, and then general maintenance. Get your vehicle serviced by someone you know and trust, like Top End Off-Road, and then just get up there and enjoy the Cape. What I missed with the roof rack, one of the main reasons I went for the front runner rack, and this is something I'd like you all to look into. There was a video by a fella named, I think it was Tyler Thompson. I haven't actually watched the video, I've just been told a lot about it. But he goes into more detail, so make sure you check that out. But the front runner roof racks don't change their load limit off-road. So a lot of roof racks will say, I don't know, let's say you can carry 150 kilos up there, but as soon as you hit the dirt tracks, you can only carry, say, 40 kilos up there. So if you have an accident or anything slides off, damages your car, you're actually not covered. Front runner don't change. So whatever you've got up there, you can drive on-road or off-road or whatever. So just be aware of that. I think we're up to the back, this is the exciting part of any vehicle. As you all know, I've had this vehicle for 2.5, 3 years now, and I started at the bottom, right? You all would have seen, I think it was season 2, this was just a tray with boxes on top, Marley boy in the back, the outboard motor thrown in the back, covered up in a rug. We're up Cape York exploring, and I've had a bit of a dream list over the years, things I wanted to add. You know, you all have to understand that I spend 5 or 6 weeks in the bush, a lot of the time on my own, with, you know, several GoPros, drones, cameras, all that gear. And you just want that little bit of comfort when you come back from a tinny mission where you've slept in the hammock getting eaten by midgies for 3 nights, to come back and have a rooftop tent and a cold fridge, and you can charge all your gear, is really important. It's dust free, it's water free. So this has been a dream for 2.5 years, and thanks to Mission Built, it's come to fruition. They've built me a brilliant setup here we've got 70 litres of water underneath. I'm running the standard fuel tank still, which is 130 litres of diesel. But anyway, let's get inside and check it out. So this is it. Again, we're running the hardcore lights on either side, and I've put them in the actual canopy as well, just for when I'm charging gear and when I can work on this station here and have plenty of light at night. We'll start at the front. We've got the front runner. This is a front runner 45 litre water tank. Now it's a slimline one, as you can see, and it's on the other side, it's fully enclosed, so you can't see it. On this side, I've left it open so I can get it the filler. And what I do, I run obviously 45 litres of fresh drinking water, filtered water. So if I'm in a good town, normally from home, and then when I get to a good town, I'll fill up with drinking water. So this is purely for drinking. And then underneath, I've got, like I said, 70 or 75 litres of water for washing up, for boiling for coffees, for cooking and that kind of thing, which is really handy as well. Now, we've got the Bushman 130 litre upright fridge. Now this thing's a game changer. As you all would have seen, I've run chest fridges and freezers, Waco, Angle, what was that last one I had? Another good one anyway. And they're all great fridges, but to have an upright fridge as opposed to, your drop downs, which are also good, but you got to dig through and you end up with like an inch of dirty, scummy water in the bottom that you need to clean out all the time. Whereas this thing, except for the stickers, it's just really handy. It's like everything's at your fingertips. You've got your door for your beers and your coconut waters and stuff for the kids. You've got I think it's a 7 litre freezer at the top. They are lightweight. I think it's about 17 kilos, which is super lightweight. And they run all different sizes from, this is the big one, 130 down to about a 50 litre upright. So really for any application, you're covered with Bushman. And they're a super low energy draw, which is really important, obviously, with what I'm doing. This is the big bad boy that's running it all, right? This is the Anadrive Adventurer. Another dream, really, something I've wanted since for years, 10 or 12 years, I've wanted to have a really good 12 volt setup. But obviously, technology keeps changing, and this at the moment is one of the best things that you can get. So I've got the Cymarine touchscreen here, which tells you exactly where you're at all times, how much power is being consumed by the fridge or by your lights. You can dial it in to show you all different things. So you can set your fridge in there, you can set your lights in there, you can set your compressor in there, your water pump, all that stuff, so that when you press your switch, you can see exactly how much power is being drawn by that item. So I've got the air pump, which is my compressor, my water pump for underneath. I've got a tap underneath here. So that's my water pump, and next to that tap, I've just got the 2 connections for the airbags in the suspension. What else we got here? And the tent. So the rooftop tent has power and lights and everything, and I've got like a switch down there so I can shut it off and know that everything up there is off, and just a spare switch. Again, USB points. I do tend to charge my GoPros here because I have to charge so many batteries, and this is where I always am, like cooking and stuff, that I can keep an eye on when they're charged and swap them out. It's just a bit easier. And the big inverter, 2000 watt inverter. This will charge and run pretty much anything. Power tools, thermomixers, all that stuff. Just be aware that you do need a bigger battery. So I'm running a 200 amp hour lithium battery by Enerdrive under the floor on the other side. I might jump around there a bit later and show you guys a couple of things there that I missed. But to run a 2000 watt inverter, you do really need a 200 amp hour lithium battery. Now this thing, I've got solar on the roof, about 320 watts of solar, and you just can't kill this thing. I run a induction cooker, which I'll show you in a sec, to cook my popcorn bar and all that stuff, and that's the highest consumption out of anything that I use. That does chew a bit of power, but if you're in the sun, it's pumped back up in an hour and a half. You're fully charged again. So this thing really doesn't go too much lower than on my trips than about 85%, unless I'm really charging everything at once after I've been away for a long time. What else we got this side? Again, I did the fit out with the drawers and stuff. Eventually Mission Built will do the whole lot. But this is actually my favorite little drawer. Just tried to utilize all the space in the vehicle. So this is like salt and pepper and all my spices, my chai, my coffee, bit of cutlery, things that I'm going to use a few times a day, and it's just hidden underneath that Enerdrive unit. Little shelf there for the GoPro chargers. Big drawer. Now this is my go-to drawer. It's a bit of a mess, but for everything. Like I said, the induction cooker, my jet boil, pots and pans and stuff. That's stuff that I use several times a day. And again, just another table for cooking. That's pretty sturdy. It looks a bit flimsy because we're on a bit of an angle here, but you know, I'll cook on there without dropping legs down or anything, and it's bang on. And like I said, it's you can see I've got chop marks in there. That's food grade plastic. I don't know exactly what it's called, CDEC, something like that. Now, before we close up the canopy, I've got the air compressor in here, which is a Sherpa Big Air. Again, I've always had ARB compressors, and you know, they did the job, but I wanted to get the best compressor I could get that's going to pump out the most air, and I did the research, and the Big Air was it, the Sherpa. Now, I've run an air fitting to either side, so you can open up the door, run your hose to your tyres on this side, then just unclip it and run out to the other side. And it sits under the floor here in a little compartment that's hinged. So if I'm going to pump up all 4 tyres, it's obviously going to use a fair bit of power, and it's going to get quite hot. And I want to keep that open. So it's hidden under the floor until you need it. Come around the back really quickly. Underneath, again, nothing much has changed. We've got the airbags under there, which might have been in the last rig review that I did, but one of the biggest things that I'm really excited about, besides these big bad boys, is the trundle drawer. I've never had a trundle drawer. Now, you have to excuse the mess. Before my last trip, I kind of packed like 2 days before I left, and this was a brand new canopy. I was just chucking everything in, making spaces for everything. And this trundle drawer ended up being my pantry. So this was just loaded with gear. And as you can see, this has done a trip to Cape York, and it actually got left open one day when we were driving, got a bit of dust in there. But apart from that, it's still super tidy, as in like there's not much dust in there. We didn't get any water in there. It's fully sealed, as you can see here, all the way around. So I'm going to put some dividers in there. Actually, that's something I want to show you real quick. All right, so the product I wanted to show you guys quickly, the sun's setting, so I'm just going to try and be super quick. I need a solution for drawer dividers, and obviously I can use marine ply, carpet it and do all that, but Front Runner, and this is why I like Front Runner, they're very, they've just got such a variety of products. These here are like a core flute almost, but covered in foam, like a pack, and you can cut them to suit whatever application. And then you get these little pins which lock into the core flute and lock them together. So I'm going to utilise this. I'll probably have to get a couple more boxes to do all my drawers, but to do dividers in the pantry and in all my camera drawers and things like that. So I wanted to show you guys that because that excited me when I saw it, and I think you guys would get a lot of use out of that as well. I'm going to pop up the rooftop tent and swing the awning out, and then we'll have a quick chat about that before the sun sets. So what I've got here is the Easy On Manta 270. 270 plus it might be, probably says it up here. Yeah, 270 plus. Now the reason I've gone with this awning, it is lightweight. It's a bit lighter than what I've used in the past. Let's be honest, what you've seen me use in the past is the Bush Company. Now the Bush Company really run probably the best products on the market. I had no issue with their gear, but what I'm trying to do with Wild Reaches is show you guys what other products are on the market. So we've got the Easy On rooftop tent up top and an Easy On awning. And I just ran that for last season. I was really happy with the rooftop tent. We'll jump to that in a second. The awning, you've got legs with it, but you don't have to use them all the time. But I like to be able to go to bed and not even think about it, you know, whereas a few times the wind would come up and I'd jump down and put the legs down. Or we'd get rain and I'd worry that this would pull up too much. They don't have eyelets, which is unfortunate. But apart from that, for you guys, you know, for the weekend warrior or even someone who's going to do a Cape trip for 2 weeks, this is a really good option. It's much cheaper than the Bush Company, and it really stands up to what you guys would probably put it through. A really good benefit with this awning, if you do have a canopy on a 79 series, is this arm here comes out square to the vehicle. So you'll find with the Bush company, unless you go with their big one that has the second arm that folds right to the front, which is difficult to put on a 79 series. I don't know if you can. You can open up the canopy lid and it's not going to hit that arm that comes through here on the standard 270 Bush company awning. Now there's probably options to get around that. I'm sure a lot of you are running that setup and you've worked out a way to get around it, but this is something that I really liked because I did a wet season in Cape York when this was a canvas canopy, and this is where my drawer used to be. And if you had the drawer open and you were working, chopping things up, and the awning went cut above you, you'd get wet, which was quite frustrating. Something that I don't have to deal with anymore. But I'm not sure what I'm going to run in the future. I'll see what else is on the market that I can show you guys. And that's what I enjoy doing, being able to test these products in Cape York and bring it to you guys on YouTube, and hopefully bring a lot more products to your attention. And that's something I want to get to, is this new channel. I'm starting a new channel, and I've touched on this briefly with you guys. It's going to be a review channel. So once a week, I'm going to test products. Probably, you know, if I'm going to do, say, a survival knife, I'll get 3 really good survival knives and really test them and let you guys know what my pick is, what your pick should be for different environments, different scenarios. And I'm going to do that with everything: sleeping bags, knives, rooftop tents, awnings, tyres, fridges, the whole lot. And that's going to be on top of the existing content. So it's probably going to be a second channel. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know what products you think I should be testing. If you're excited about it, put it all in the comments below. Now let's look at the awning, the rooftop tent. All right, I'll jump up in here. I might get the GoPro in here tomorrow and show you guys the inside, the lining and everything. They're insulated really well, and they've also got a really thick mattress. Now, as you know, I had the Bush company, I think I had their Alpha Max, which both ends pop up. They have hinges on both ends and gas struts on both ends. That was brilliant. They're a really good tent. And you know, the Bush company, they're second to none, so you don't have to worry about the quality there. But the mattress in this is actually much better. Really thick, you get a really good night's sleep. And as you guys can probably imagine, the trips that I do in Cape York, you know, sleeping in the trees and the hammock and stuff, when I get to come back and sleep in this rooftop tent, it's a little oasis, a little paradise, and it's really become like a second home to me. So I do love my rooftop tents. Now, this is the Easy On blade. As you can see here, they also do a Stealth, which pops up at the other end, but it only pops up about 450 mil. They also do, they're their 2 big ones, the hard tops, and then they do like a soft top rooftop tent as well. They've got some great products. What do I like about this tent? The insulation inside, it's really cool in here. It's a little bit cheaper than the Bush company, like the equivalent, and it's lightweight. I should have checked the specs before we made this video, but I think it's about 80 kilos. So it's definitely lighter than the last tent that I had, which sat at about 100 kilos. Definitely doesn't have the huge big awning like the Bush company do in their new ones. But to me, this is all I need. I've had this in a lot of rain and it didn't leak at all, even without, you know, there's no overhang really on the sides, but there was no leakage. You can just shut the canvas up and get a good night's sleep. Guys, that is going to be a wrap for another episode, a wrap for the rig rundown. Now, I'm 90% sure I've missed a lot, and I apologise for that. There's just so much to talk about, so much to look at, and I've probably breezed over a few things. So if you do have questions, put them in the comments below and I'll get back to all of you. If I think of anything, I'll put it in the description below, so make sure you read that. While you're at it, make sure you subscribe, give us a thumbs up, tell your mates, share, do all that stuff. We really appreciate that. But yeah, that's the 79 Series Landcruiser. Big thanks to, you know, Batteryworld Noosa and Maroochydore, who, as you guys know, have supported me from the beginning, and they do all the work on these vehicles. And Adventure Concepts, that's something I really want to talk to you guys about in the near future. Something really exciting. They're an amazing company. You know, we're looking at the front runner gear, the Bushman fridges, all that stuff. It's all through Adventure Concepts. So they're coming out with some great gear. But I'll talk to you guys more about that soon, as I will with the new channel, the review channel. We will talk about that soon. Next week we will get back to Cape York with that tinny mission out into the Gulf Carpentaria with Jordan. So make sure you're there for that one. If you want merch, www.wildreaches.com, and Patreon. If you want to be a part of our exclusive community, that's www.patreon.com/wildreaches. Big thanks to all of you for watching every week. The support is just blows my mind. It's so cool to be able to do what I love doing and that you guys are enjoying watching. So see you next week. I need a break from talking. It's full on. What else do we need to talk about? I think that'll probably do. I knew I'd forget a few things, and there's probably going to be more, but we didn't do inside the vehicle. Now I might get some GoPro footage to show you a couple of things that I'm about to talk about. One is this throttle control that I recommend you guys get because it's really good for a 79 series. It's literally just a plug and play. Don't know what brand it is. Like I said, I'll get some footage tomorrow. That's an addition on the inside. Everything else inside you guys have pretty much seen. I run the 1 stone armrests, which I'm really happy with. They're great. But the big thing I wanted to talk about was the weight. That's such a critical thing to talk about in a 79 series rig rundown. The weight of this vehicle, I was concerned about. As you know, I've had the Gvm upgrade to 3950, but building a full tray and canopy setup with drawers and all sorts of stuff in it, you have to be so careful. Now I am under the limit, so I don't know what the tray and canopy weighs. I probably should to help you guys if you're going to go to Mission Built and get one built. They would know. But I've gone over the weighbridge with full of diesel and full of water, and with myself and my son in the vehicle, so that's another 100 kilos. And all my, not all my gear, but like all my tools, my camera gear, fridge full of stuff. I just didn't have anything on the roof rack, and I didn't have my big boxes in the back. But I weighed 3.7 ton. So I still had room, I still had 200 kilos to play with, or 250 kilos to play with. So there you go. So that's a full aluminium tray and canopy. There's no steel in it except for the fixings, the bolts. But yeah, aluminium construction. This is something else I had to drop into this video because it is such a critical thing that you all get that right. As you all know, I travel up to Cape York a lot. If you're new to the channel, we do 5 or 6 weeks in the bush, living off the land, 2 to 3 times a year. So I spend a lot of time on the road, and I'm noticing police a lot more on the road these days, weighing people with caravans, making sure the caravans aren't too heavy, and also your vehicle. I don't know what the percentages are, but 80% of people would probably be overweight. If you have an accident, your insurance, you're not covered. It's just not worth it. So make sure you get your vehicle over a weighbridge, especially if you're going to do a build like this. All right, that's a wrap. There's still things I need to talk about. I forgot to tell you all about the clutch. As I said, I burnt out the clutch, bogged in Cape York. I think that might have been an Exceedy clutch. I've since replaced it with an NPC clutch. I think it's rated to 1300 Newton meters of torque. So that's definitely a must, as you all know, with the 79 series. If you're going to tune it and get that extra power, you need to upgrade your clutch, 100%. We'll just keep it rolling because I'll just remember something else. Why is my build different to every other YouTuber doing a build on a 79 series? Mine is 100% practicality. It's not sponsors throwing gear at me. It is, as I said before, I started in filming with this truck just basic, with boxes in the back covered in dust and all my gear just chucked in boxes, and I gradually built up a list. I tried things, tested them, took them off, put different brands on, to get the right gear happening. And one of the other biggest things is I haven't done the chassis extension. Everyone goes on about these 79 series drive terrible. You have to do a chassis extension, you have to upgrade your brakes. I haven't done that, and I use this thing probably more than a lot of people drive their 79 series in some wild conditions. Yeah, the brakes aren't great. Well, they're not amazing, but once you get used to driving your car, these are fine. And as far as cornering and all that stuff that people go on about, and then they go and chop their chassis and extend it and spend a fortune, I don't see then I don't see that's necessary. Anyway, we're home, let's wrap it up.